Hi guys, welcome back to the Stroke Recovery channel. I'll be detailing my stroke recovery and how I've helped other people recover from their strokes. Today's topic is hand movement and shoulder movement. So the first thing is shoulder strength. If you are hemiplegic and you don't have any movement down one side of your body, you won't have any shoulder strength. In the first part of my stroke, I did a lot of E-stim, so I had the pads. This will probably be a separate video, the pads on my shoulder. Probably for at least 6 to 8 hours a day, I had my muscles stimulated. At the start of the therapy, I did that. As soon as I had a flicker of movement in my arm and hand, I went to upper limb group. So that was 30 minutes a day of upper limb group. The early exercises in upper limb group are all passively, so the physio or OT will physically pick up your hand, put it on the table and get you to slide it back and forward. You won't be able to do this first time. It took me at least 4 weeks before I could move my arm. So upper limb group was really good for shoulder work, and as I said, if you don't have a strong shoulder, you don't have anything. I'm relearning guitar 5 years after a stroke, and I'm finding that most of the guitar playing comes from your shoulder. The tricky stuff with your fingers hurts too, but your shoulder does a lot of the guitar playing for you. So the best form of physio rehabilitation for your arm is constraint-induced therapy. Lots of research has proven that that's the quickest way of neuroplasticity. So I did a lot of constraint-induced therapy. If you don't know what that is, it's basically making you use your affected arm. So I used to use an oven mitt on my good arm, and I had to use my left arm for everything. Before you can use your left arm for anything, you need to be able to pinch your finger and your thumb together so you have some kind of grip. So the best form of constraint-induced therapy for me was using my affected arm to open doors at first. So just practice opening doors. Make sure you use your left arm for as much as, or your affected arm for as much as possible. Unstacking the dishwasher with your affected arm was really good. You can take an hour to do it, but it gets quicker every time, and it's the best way of getting a full range of movement. As you can see, I've now got a full range of movement, and I'm still working on getting strength back 5 years after the stroke. There will be a plateau, I call it the OK plateau of your recovery, and it just means that you need to push it by 10% more. If you can lift a certain amount of weight, push it by a bit more every few months and don't let yourself plateau. It is okay to plateau, but you can break through it. If you don't use your affected arm, you will get terrible spasticity. Your arm will basically curl up here and you might need an AFO. It's really, really hard to work on someone with spasticity in that form. And the worst thing about spasticity is you get learned non-use. So you will learn to not use your arm. You use your good arm for everything, and that's really bad for recovery. The best part of constraint-induced therapy is make sure that you're doing functional tasks. Tasks that you need to do every day. Make yourself breakfast. If you're going to put the kettle on, use your affected arm. If you're going to unstack the dishwasher, use your affected arm. And that's the best way of getting back. Sometimes it's going to feel like you're going backwards in recovery, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And I've felt that every step of the way. But if you look at the long-term goals, you are recovering and you will get there. Make sure you don't compare yourself to anybody else because everyone's brain's different. My favourite part of constraint-induced therapy was unstacking the dishwasher. It was really, really hard, but if something's hard, it means you need to do it more often. Basically, if it's hard, do it and persevere with it. I can now unstack the dishwasher with my left arm. Your brain is quite lazy and it will take the path of least resistance, and you're not going to want to use your affected arm, but you absolutely have to fight off the spasticity and the muscle tension. You must use it every single day. I still do arm exercises every single day. I've got a weight that I use on the floor. If I don't, I didn't do my arm exercises for a month or two and my arm started curling back up like this. So now I make sure I do them every day. Your arm and fingers are the most complex part of your body and forms of recovery. they're not going to want to heal themselves. You have to absolutely force it. Your brain's going to take the path of least resistance and use your other arm, but don't let it. You have to force yourself to use your affected arm. I've got kids, and whenever I was playing with them on my floor, I would use my affected arm to play with them with the toys. And every time I picked up after them, I'd use my affected arm to pick up the toys and put them in a basket. So they're examples of functional activities that will get you full range of movement. For the 3 months after the stroke, I couldn't use my hand at all. I had absolutely no movement at all. Everything was passively moved. And it took at least 2 or 3 months before I could make this movement. And I was so happy when I could do that. It was agony. I almost gave myself a nosebleed by thinking about it that much. Thinking about moving my hand. And that's how it starts, by thinking about it. The occupational therapist had me using springs and balls and all types of things in upper limb group to make my hand work. But getting my hand to work was the hardest physical thing to recover from. Obviously the hardest part of recovery is the mental recovery, but physical recovery, your hand, is the hardest part. I've now got full movement and I'm learning guitar again, but it's very slow to react. The OT sent me home with one of these, a TheraGrip. This is one of the lighter tensions, so you basically hold it in your hand and squeeze it. It's really good because it will spring your hand back out, and so that's really good for spasticity as well. It was a full year after the stroke before I could use this at all, and 5 years later I still have trouble moving it, although I have full range of movement and a pretty strong grip. My son had one of these, a Stretch Armstrong, and it looks pretty stupid, an adult playing with a kid's toy, but they're really, really good for hand exercises. It's full of goo, so you can squeeze him, you can stretch him. Really good for shoulder movement, and just really good for something to hold on to. So if you're in rehab, if somebody's had a stroke and in rehab, I suggest you get them one of these and just put it in their hand. They'll get used to holding something again, and the messages will start getting back through. Nearly at 100 subscribers, so if you're watching this, can you hit that subscribe button and hit the like button, show me your support. So my email is strokerecoveryvideo@gmail.com. I'm getting through my emails as quick as I can. I'm getting lots of lovely messages from people all over the world asking me advice. I'm doing Zoom calls with people to do some mentoring. Anything I can do to help the community recover from strokes and stop them from happening. I'll link up to my Facebook page, so you can add me on Facebook and talk to me through there. If you've got any video requests, anything you want me to talk about, email me or get me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to write an episode just based on what you want me to talk about. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.